You're about to hear two of the scariest words in the English language: peak oil. Effectively, they mean the end of the world as we know it, the point where oil production reaches its absolute peak, the point when supplies start running out. And the doomsayers are convinced we're almost there. So if you think paying $100 to fill your tank is painful, I hate to tell you, this is as good as it gets. It'll get worse, much worse. $2 plus a litre by Christmas for a start. Naturally, the oil companies say, stay calm. We'll be right for 100 years at least. But then they would, wouldn't they? We're enjoying the economic good times, the best we've ever had. We're a rich country, and we're expecting the wealth and resources to last forever. This is the Perth Basin, 10 kilometres off the West Australian coast, and this rig is the front line of oil exploration in Australia. They're expecting to pump out 14 million barrels of oil worth $1.5 billion. Right now, business is booming, but it can't last forever. Like any oil field, this one has a limited lifespan. One day it will dry up. And when that happens on a world scale, when we run out of oil, you can't imagine the consequences.
If we do nothing, we are looking at a disaster that threatens the civilization we have.
You know, it's difficult to look into that kind of future and not think that we're really sleepwalking towards catastrophe.
And the catastrophe could come in the next 10 years. There's a growing belief among scientists and analysts that world demand for oil will outstrip supply as early as 2015. They call it peak oil and believe when it comes, we'll grind to a halt. It's been described as the post-industrial Stone Age. Is that what we're facing?
Well, we face a society that we can no longer afford to live in.
Queensland MP Andrew McNamara is crusading to spread the warning of peak oil. He heads a state government task force to investigate its effects and predicts a frightening future for a planet completely reliant on oil.
You're looking at food shortages, the tourism industry collapsing, all of the medicines which we get cheaply being vastly more expensive, clothes and packaging suddenly being unaffordable. If we just let it drift on without doing anything about it, then there's a real problem in that the whole society we've got structured falls like a house of cards.
Sounds science fiction, it doesn't sound real.
I have absolutely no doubt that the scientific evidence is rock solid, and you can see it out there. Around the world, we are seeing peak oil happening.
McNamara is one of the few in Australia spreading the peak oil warning. When it hits, he believes drivers will be the first affected, spelling the end of our car culture.
I expect that we would see $2 a litre by the end of this year.
And this is just the beginning.
Post the peak, it would not be unusual to see $5 a litre. I think that would be certainly something that we can see within the next 5 or 6 years. And you start talking about $250 to fill the average car.
$250 within 5 to 6 years?
Yeah.
That'll be out of the reach of many people.
Well, we won't use cars the way we currently use them.
In August 2001, the average fuel price hovered around 85 cents a litre. It broke the $1 a litre barrier in August 2004, and since then it's just gone up and up. This month, prices are nudging $1.50. That's a 75% increase in just 5 years. According to British geologist Jeremy Leggett, prices will never come down.
I think the price of oil will go through the roof. I think there will be some sort of collapse in the capital markets, hopefully not as bad as the great crash of October 1929, but there probably will be a global depression for a while, and that's going to be an extremely painful thing.
So if no alternatives can be found in time, what will life be like?
the time of plenty is going to be over because we haven't provisioned for an alternative way of running our economies yet.
It doesn't matter how often you do this, you still get a lot of excitement from the fact that these molecules have been underneath 1,400 meters underground for millions and millions and millions and millions of years, and now, for the first time, they're there. Here they are.
Not everyone believes our way of life is doomed. John Duran heads petroleum company Rock Oil and is confident that he'll be in business for a long time to come.
It's wonderful.
It is wonderful, but the burning question is, when are they going to run out?
Of oil, my personal view, and there's a lot to back this up, they never will.
In the 90s, Australia produced all the oil we needed. Now we must import 40%. Companies like Rock are still exploring, but finds like this latest in the Perth Basin are small and the risks are high. This field only became economically viable when the price of oil skyrocketed.
15 months ago, did you think your dream would be realised?
Oh, absolutely. When we discovered it 5 years ago, I wasn't so sure. A number of things had to happen, one of which, of course, was the oil price had to go up. And you know, it did.
We know it did. You're the only person I've met so far who is happy about the prices going up.
Well, look, it's a twin-edged sword, but you know, oil is still cheaper than Pepsi, Coke, mineral water, and it's not renewable. So I think it's still fairly cheap.
Fairly cheap? It may not feel like it, but the oil companies argue petrol prices have been too cheap for too long, and that's why they haven't found more oil reserves. They haven't had the money to look. Their view is the higher the prices, the more money there is to explore, and they have no doubt it's out there.
Well, we're finding it right now. What we're now achieving is certainly higher profits, but we're not squandering those profits. We are putting them back where we believe it will work. We are putting them back to find more oil.
Reg Nelson from Beach Petroleum is another modern-day gold prospector, only his gold is black. Flushed with the success of his latest oil discovery here in South Australia's Cooper Basin, he's supremely optimistic there's more to be found. Do the giant oil fields still exist?
I'm sure they do. I don't see any reason to suppose why they don't, because there are still large areas in Australia and other parts of the globe that are virtually unexplored.
We simply don't have the regions left to explore to make up what we are using.
So it's not just a matter of them not having the money to look.
That argument's rubbish. It's not demonstrated by the facts. We only find 1 barrel of oil for every 4 we use. We haven't found a super giant field, a 500 million barrel field now, for over 30 years anywhere in the world.
I think people just can't accept that we've constructed a whole society that depends on a commodity which is finite, and it's going to prove to be finite on their watch, as it were. There's something almost incredible about that when you look around yourself at the world and how fundamentally addicted to oil we've become. How can it possibly be true that this stuff is going to run out in short order?
Our addiction to oil goes well beyond filling up the car with petrol. Almost everything we use is petroleum-based. Just think about what we have at home. The television you're watching, in fact, all electronic equipment, including the computer, the telephone, and then there are your pens and even the ink inside them. In the bathroom, almost everything you can think of is here because of oil. Deodorant, shampoo, toothbrushes, toothpaste, razors, it's endless. And it's the same with our medications. Almost everything we take, including common painkillers, is made with petroleum. Every room in your house is the same.
Just watch as we remove everything that is oil reliant. There's simply nothing left. The doomsayers predict, in a worst case scenario, oil will get so expensive, our entire way of life, the suburban dream, will be over.
We need to understand that re-engineering our society is a 30-year job, and I suggest we've got 9.
So you're saying we're stuffed, basically?
If we don't adopt a war footing, a war mentality, then it's going to be a very rough landing indeed.
The Stone Age didn't end because you ran out of stones. You just used something else. A man is inventive enough. What do you think's going to happen? The cars roll to a halt one day 100 years from now, and everybody says, that was it, guys. That was the last drop. We walk. No.
If we don't plan for it, the impact can be catastrophic.
Andrew McNamara believes our future may lay in the past. Cities must be redesigned into smaller communities where we grow our own food. We'll walk and cycle instead of driving, and we'll work close to home.
We are going to get there by using less energy, by laying out our cities far more intelligently, and in the end by understanding that society is going to change.
So what you're saying is the suburban sprawl, the way we live today, is unsustainable?
I have not the slightest doubt that the suburban sprawl, which took place after World War II and which continues to this day, will be seen as the greatest misallocation of resources in the history of the planet.
Everyone agrees one day we will run out of affordable oil. It's not a matter of if, but when that day comes. How we cope is all down to how well prepared we are, how long we have to change our world. So you don't see the end of society as we know it today?
No.
You don't think we've been sleepwalking towards catastrophe as it's been described?
I think we have been sleepwalking, but this is a very good wake-up call, and it's if we wake up now, then we'll avoid walking over the cliff.
Well, sitting here today, you don't look like a worried man.
No, because I believe we can find more oil.
No one that I've spoken to privately in the industries suggests that there's some magic bullet here and that we're suddenly going to find, Saudi Arabia again. It's not going to happen. The issue here is that if we don't deal with this, then we start living a 20th century, then a 19th century, then an 18th century lifestyle. Doesn't have to be that way. That's where we're headed if we do nothing.
And we're doing nothing right now.
At the moment, zip.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes, segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.